thing is, at what point do you forgive and forget what happened a couple of years ago when we found out this bag actually cost $57 to make? Hi everyone, how are you all doing? We are going to unpack and talk about today something quite exciting, which is the latest Dior collection, that's Spring Summer 2026 collection, which has come out from the new creative director, Jonathan Anderson. So Jonathan Anderson took over from, you may remember if you're like into the brand, he took over from Maria Grazia Chiuri last year. And I know that I personally really liked Maria Grazia Chiuri, but I felt that she lost her way the last couple of years. And I don't know whether that's because she kind of, I'm speculating, but you know when you know you're going to quit a job, so you do like, you're not that creative because you're like, oh, I'm going. I don't know whether there was anything like that going on, but I felt that her designs were sort of like, compared to her earlier stuff, felt a bit like tired, a bit lackluster, and there was nothing that ever caught my eye. And I've always been like a really big Dior customer, and I really haven't, I think I bought something in 2023. I haven't really bought anything from the brand in all that time because there's been nothing that's really caught my eye. When they announced that she was going, and she's actually gone to Fendi now, and I'm curious to know what she's going to do at Fendi, because when she's feeling fresh, I do like her creative vision. I like it. So I'm keeping an eye on Fendi to see what's going to go on there. But Jonathan Anderson, so he came over, and I remember thinking, oh, I don't know, like, I wonder where this is going to go, because Maria was quite like big logos, and, as I say, not everyone felt her designs. And I was just curious to see what Jonathan was going to do. Well, he has come out with his debut collection, and the stuff is gorgeous. But the question is, do we forgive and forget what happened a couple of years ago with Dior, where we found out that the book tote was being made somewhere in Italy, costing $57 per bag for a bag that's over £2,000. Do we forgive and forget? We're going to go through all of that. Are the prices of the pieces we're going to talk about, are they a complete rip-off? Or are they not? Because I think there's something really interesting going on here. Will I be buying anything from it? What do I think of it? And again, I want to know from you, have you forgiven and forgotten Dior and their controversy? Will you be buying from this brand? Let me know. Okay, so we've got to talk about the elephant in the room. I say that. It is the bag that everyone is talking about. There's a few bags in this collection that everyone's talking about, but the bag is the bow bag. So I'm going to show you it. It comes in two sizes, comes in small and like a larger size. I'm going to show you the small size. This is priced at £3,250. And you know what? I love this bag. Comes in a few different colours: black, pale pink, cream, yellow, and like a greeny tone. And I love the delicate chain strap on this particular bag. I'm going to include in here some images just over here that I've got off Instagram. I'm going to leave in people's handles like at the top so you can see who they are, so you can go and follow them, because there are some really great people, like people that work for Dior as like SAs around the world, and they put up pictures in store so that you can see what's new. So definitely go and check them out. But this bag really caught my eye, and I love that delicate chain because it has got the bows into the chain. So will I buy this? I probably will. I think talking prices, and we're going to go through prices of a lot of these things. There's a few things that I think are a bit steep in terms of price, but actually for the most part, I feel that the prices are quite reasonable. And, I did think to myself at the end of last year, when there were like leaked images coming out of this collection, I thought this stuff's going to be expensive. Like these brands are already, in my opinion, really expensive for what you get. And I thought, new creative director, new stamp on things, new design, new price rises. That's kind of what I thought. And when I actually went through the bags on the site earlier, I was really surprised by the prices. Now, you might think that's expensive. It possibly is. But what I'm trying to say is that compare it to a Chanel bag. Let's say the equivalent thing in Chanel would be around about £4,000 or £5,000. But from Dior, they're pricing that at £3,250. There is an exception. If you want to get, this is my personal favourite, if you want to get the version that's got embroidered clovers all over it, this is a bit more expensive, but you would expect that, and it's £3,700. So far so good. I really like the bags. That's probably the bag I would buy, and it's one that's on my mind, and I've already showed David it a whole bunch of times because I really like it. Now let's talk about the book tote. Now obviously, as I've mentioned earlier, the book tote was a bit of a scandal back in, when was that? 2024? I think it was the summer of, because it all got leaked out of this factory, quite how much they were actually being paid by Dior to make these bags. And you know, I've got my book tote here. I kind of went off this bag a long time ago, and I went off it because, well, I do like a logo still, but I felt that the logo on this was like way too much for me personally. But also, and I don't want to offend anyone, I probably will offend a lot of people by saying this, but I don't know whether you agree or you disagree or your stance on this, but you'd be using this bag, there'd be fakes all over the place, and people would be giving you side eye, and you'd be like, it just put me off using it, to be honest. So I stopped using it. I used to use it for the gym, but now it's sat around, not really doing too much. But the new book totes, I like them. You see on the old one, they weren't lined. It's a really quite basic bag. So on the new ones, check this out. This is like my personal favourite. This is the medium size. It's pink with a white trim. And what I love about what Jonathan's done is he's brought back old Dior. He's brought back the original logo. I was never a fan of that logo that Maria Grazia Chiuri kind of brought in. And I know that you get creative directors that try and stamp their mark on things, and I get that. But I didn't like that logo. I've always preferred the original. And I also really like, which is sold out, the green foliage version that has a little ladybird on it. That's sold out, but that's £2,800 as well. And both of these bags, I'm seeing these a lot on social media. So obviously quite popular. I would definitely say the green is more, not just because it's sold out, but on my social media, it seems to be the green version that people are posting up more. Now, another one that I thought was quite interesting, and at first I wasn't sure I liked it, but actually the more I look at it, the more I do like it. It's this small oblique shopping bag. It's got a bow on it, so it's got his signature style. But I thought this was quite nice. It looks like quite a good size, modern twist with the bow, like new style, but that classic print if you're into the oblique. £2,000, I should say. £450, which I thought was quite good. The Toujours bag. This one's been quite popular ever since it launched. When did it launch? Like a couple of years ago, I feel. Comes in a couple of different sizes. And I think it's popular because of the price point. You know, as I've said, a lot of us are kind of sick of being taken for a bit of a ride when it comes to prices. And I look at a lot of these bags now and I see the prices and I just think, oh, that's not worth it. And if I really want it, I would buy it, but it would make me feel sick to spend like £10,000 on a Chanel classic flap in the largest size. I wouldn't do it because I don't feel that that bag is worth it. And there's so many bags out there now that, whilst really cute and desirable, you look at them and you're like, do you know what? That is just too much money for what that is. That could be a nice trip away somewhere. Or it's a bag that's, whilst it's very nice, does not look its price tag. But I think, like with the Toujours bag, I think the price is part of the reason why it's been so popular. So these two versions are from the new collection, and they're like baby blue with a rough edge around the canage pattern. And I think they are so sweet. So the medium size is £3,200. The small, oh no, this has got to be the wrong way around. So one is 3,200, one is, sorry, I'm getting this all wrong. The medium is 3,200. The small is £2,650, which I think is, again, it's a simple bag. It's a simple bag. There's nothing complex about it. You could argue it's not worth the money, but maybe you would want to check it out. And then before I kind of do like finish on some really lovely charms that have come out in this collection, some fashion jewellery, some small leather goods, I wanted to touch on the Lady Dior. Now, the Lady Dior is a bag that I am very much in love with. It's one I feel just adds an elegance to an outfit. I prefer it in the medium size. I find it fits my bottle of water, fits my umbrella. It's just a practical size. And I've got like the ultra matte version, which is so bashed up now because I use it all the time for everything, but it still looks good. And you put a bit of leather polish on it, looks fabulous, you know, brushes up every time. But I do think when I bought that bag, I bought it for like 3,800, let's say. I bought it years ago. Now that bag is over 5K, and to me, it's not worth it because you go and look secondhand and you can buy them secondhand for a lot less than that. But this one, it's the size small, £5,200. Now, as I say, I know with the Lady Dior, in terms of its construction, there's more going on with it. It's more complex. But 5,200 does seem a lot, and it's the small size. It's not even the medium. But again, let me know what you think. The only difference to the Lady Dior that I can see, unless they come out with new colours, is that little bow has been added to where the charms are. So very, very sweet, but I would imagine give it time, maybe a year and a half. I would imagine you would start to see the Lady Diors with the bows on them coming online secondhand for quite a bit less than 5,200. Right, let's do some charms. Then we're going to do some fashion jewellery. Then I'm going to kind of like go over just some other bits. My favourite charm out of this whole collection is the rosebud charm. From what I've seen, it comes in two colours. It comes as a red rose or as a pale pink rose. I would personally get the pale pink version. It is £670. It's a lot for a charm, but it's very sweet and it looks like it's made out of leather, which is always a good thing, as opposed to when you'll charge that much money for like a piece of fabric. The prices of the charms look like they start from around about £450 and work their way up. Another very sweet one is the horse, which is £830, fitting as we're going into the year of the horse. But what I like about it is when you look at it, it's made up of like component parts you would use in tapestry or, you know, what's the word? Atelier. You know, like a thimble and what have you, a roll of thread. And I like that. I think a lot of thought's gone into that and it's very sweet. I like it. Okay, now let's do a couple of card holders. Just briefly, the bow card holder, if you want to buy into this collection, but the bags are currently out of your budget, take a look at the bow card holder. There's a selection of them actually, come in different colours, £420. Fashion jewellery, just a couple of my favourite things. First of all are the earrings. These are £850. I wouldn't wear them in real life. I've got nowhere to wear them. And also I tend to wear like more studs and stuff like that. But I like them, and I like them with that matching necklace, which is £1,500. So guys, what do we all think of this collection? Have you planned on buying anything? What am I going to buy? I'm very, very, very keen to have a look at the bow bag, either in the small size or the larger size. I'm not sure. I need to test it out. I need to see it in real life. I need to see what fits. But this is the first collection from Dior since literally 2023 where I have had my head turned and I'm willing to forgive and forget the whole book tote scandal. And when I say that, every brand has its controversy. It's not that. But for me, the problem with the book tote scandal is when someone is selling you something for like £2,500 and then you find out it cost them $57 just to make it, it feels like a kick in the teeth. It feels insulting and you feel like a fool for giving them £2,500. That's like such a markup in profit. And some of you have said to me, yeah, well, you know, you've got to pay to keep the stores open and you've got to pay commission and all this. And I get that, you are very right. But even so, 57, you know, they're still making a nice, very, very tidy profit out of that. And there's nothing wrong with profit. We all need to eat. But as I say, it just feels a little bit insulting. So I like the book totes. I'm torn between that little pink book tote that's got the Dior thing on the front of it. Although, would I really use that because it's open on the top? Not very good for security, etc. Probably not. But the bow bag, definitely. Now, obviously I really like pink, so I've got my eye on the pink version, but I'm thinking that will attract dye transfer and it's kind of like a spring summer collection colour. It's not really something I could wear in autumn, winter. So I'm thinking, should I go for the black version? But whatever I get, I'm definitely going to get that rosebud charm to go on it because I love how that looks. So for any of you who have bought any of these bags already, please can you let me know how you're finding them? Particularly that bow bag that I'm looking into. I would like to know what that's like from a functionality point of view, because the only one thing putting me off with it is it looks like a clutch bag primarily, and they've added a chain to it. And I'm not really a clutch bag kind of person. I do like a top handle, like I like the Lady Dior because it's got that solid top handle on it, or I like a crossbody. I'm one of the two. I'm not really a clutch kind of person, but I love that silhouette. Anyway, that is enough from me. Let me know what you think of this collection, and I will see you in the next video.